We've got a few minutes here this morning just to take stock of your situation with your diabetes and how you're feeling about it.
Good.
And that's probably a good place to start. How are you feeling at the moment and how are you feeling about your diabetes?
I'm feeling comfortable that my diet's under control fairly well. There are still some improvements to be made, and they're coming. I'm not exercising as much as I should.
Right.
And I'm finding every excuse in the world to not go take a walk.
So you know what you should be doing, but it's not so easy to do it.
No, it's not.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the exercise I'm really stumbling over badly.
Okay, okay, and that's something we'll return to in a moment. What I want to do is, first of all, just lay out for the two of us what we could be talking about today, okay? And then we'll make a decision. First of all, we could talk about your test result, which I've got the result for, okay, the A1C. We could talk about your diet. We could talk about your exercise. And I know that you're not a drinker and you're not a smoker. Or we could talk about anything else that you'd like to. Have you got a sense of, if you think about those things, which of them you'd most like to talk about? What would you find helpful?
I would find the most helpful, how do I stop finding all the excuses to not go exercise?
Right.
I get a sense that it's how I talk to myself in my own head of finding every excuse in the book not to go do it. How do I start finding every reason in the book to go do the exercising?
So you feel that it's something that's important for you to do?
Yes, I do feel it's important that I do more exercising.
Right.
I know it's in my own best interest, and
Right.
yet I don't do it.
Yeah. And so there's something that's stopping you.
I don't like it.
Right, right.
Even taking a simple walk is not particularly athletic,
Right.
and yet I'm not doing a simple, easy task.
Right. So the thought of taking exercise is just not a pleasant one for you.
No, it's not.
Yeah? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. So if you could find more pleasant thoughts about exercise, or if you could find some form of exercise that you would enjoy, you might be prepared to consider it. Although I see you sighing when I raise it.
I have thought about other things to do. I've thought of, geez, go play a game. And there don't seem to be any that appeal to me. I don't know. I'm not finding anything pleasant about that chore.
And so that must be quite frustrating for you. Knowing,
It is.
Yeah?
It is. It really is frustrating. And I wish I would just get beyond it and go get the exercise done. And life I could have a higher quality of life.
In what way? How would it improve your life? How do you see that?
I would have more energy. I'd have less weight to carry around with me all the time. The A1C would come down.
Right, right.
I get a sense that I could eat more starches if I was burning them off with exercise.
Right, so you can see the link there between the intake of food and the exercise that you'd have.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I've actually had insomnia for years. I understand I would sleep better if I would go get the exercise.
Right.
And yet at the moment when it's time to go take the walk, I
Yeah.
don't think of those things. It's, oh, what a burden it is to go
Yeah.
take a walk, either in my neighborhood
Yeah.
or somewhere else.
Yeah. So you can see all these good reasons why it would be a good idea, but you hit a barrier, and what you'd really like to do is to try and break through that barrier somehow.
That's exactly where I'm at.
Yeah. And I wonder what you think might be just the first small step that could help you through that barrier. Do you see what I'm saying? Because sometimes people think about exercise and it becomes a bigger and bigger and bigger thing in their minds, and then actually the barrier gets bigger. And I'm wondering if there's some way we can just lower the barrier for you so that there's a small step that you could take. I'm not sure what it is.
And maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm not seeing any way through.
Yeah.
Other than I think it's how I think about it.
Right.
If I would quit seeing it as such a huge burden,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be such a huge burden.
Right.
Is that it?
Well, it certainly sounds like it for you, that if you could not be saying those things to yourself, the barrier would
Okay.
feel a bit better. It's what makes sense to you that matters, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it something to the effect of, I hear myself thinking this is such a horrible chore, and then I go, oh, find another way to think about this.
Yep. Yep. It sounds like that's quite a trap for you in a way, isn't it? The way you think about it. And can you think of a way, of a more positive way of looking at it that will take you out of that trap? What could you say to yourself?
I could tell myself it's not nearly that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could just tell myself, instead of sitting here thinking about it, why don't you go take the walk and get it done and over with?
Mm. And what would that walk be like for you? Can you think of a manageable walk that you could immediately go and do?
Yes. Most of this happens at home.
Yes.
I could simply go outside and take the walk. Now, I don't like walking in windstorms. I don't want to be out in the rain.
Exactly.
At that point, I can, maybe I can go somewhere indoors that has a walking track. And I don't really know where that is yet.
Right. So you're thinking that might be a possibility. And you know, your A1C level's a little bit raised this morning. And let me just see if I can summarize what we've said today and see what you make of this, okay? Your A1C is a little bit raised. You're aware that it's important to watch your diet.
Yes.
Yep, and you've been trying to do something about that. But of all the subjects we could talk about, it's exercise where you feel you could make the most progress.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're aware of the benefits of that.
Yes.
Yeah, for your health, for sleeping, and just for feeling better about yourself generally. You're aware of that. It's breaking through a barrier in which your negative thinking is translated into something that's more positive, and you do some form of manageable exercise.
Yes.
We haven't quite worked out what it is yet.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay. So you more or less decided you want to do it, but you're just not quite sure what it is yet. Have I got you?
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got it perfect.
Yeah. And is there anything else about your diabetes that you'd like to talk about? Anything at all? We've got just a couple of minutes left.
You know what? I would like some more recipes for things like chicken and fish. And I think that the local county extension agent has some of those. And so I think it would just take a phone call of finding out how to get those.
Yeah. So you've got your eye on some things you can do by way of cooking that
Yes.
you know are going to make a difference if you can just get hold of the recipes, yeah?
Yes. And that's just a matter of making the phone call. And
Right.
they've got some way of distributing some
Right.
diabetic recipes.
Right. Brilliant. And you're going to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, that's very good. You know, my impression just before we say goodbye this morning, because I will be seeing you again, my impression is that you've really made quite an effort since you've diagnosed to get on top of the different things you need to look after yourself. And I wouldn't be too discouraged about the exercise. I think it feels to me like you're on the cusp. And you're on the cusp of making a breakthrough there. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if you come back next time and you have broken through that barrier. And,
Oh,
you know,
that would be so delightful. I really would like to get through this one.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Well, look, I'll get an appointment to see the eye doctor sorted out for you.
All right.
Okay. And I'll check that your feet are properly seen to. I'll be speaking to the nurse when you leave the room, and I'll see you soon.